Good evening and welcome to Industry Report. I'm your host Cameron Gemmell and tonight we are discussing car tyres. Now I thought we could start this video by asking ourselves a simple question. Where do tyres go after their life cycle as car tyres? This has become a significant issue for the tyre industry as demand from stakeholders concerning CSR activities has increased. To understand what happens to car tyres, we need to explore the tyre industry and life cycle. So let's begin with a brief introduction to the industry. Car tyres are produced using a global supply chain with sourcing from multiple markets and major companies holding a multinational presence, such as Goodyear, which is a US-based company distributing across the globe using subsidiaries set up in most major markets. Most competitors in the car industry use a lower cost provider strategy and therefore competition is high, which greatly emphasizes the most efficient logistics system. Although there has been established companies in the industry, several issues are arising, forcing these companies to adapt and be more flexible. The industry has, for the most part, not been subject to environmental concerns. However, the increase in consumer consciousness for the environment and sustainability of these products has forced these firms to release CSR information about sustainable sourcing of rubber. However, only a few even mention reverse logistics. And this is where the biggest issue lies. Car tyres and rubber, due to this high safety need of the product, hold a high product life, and because of this, massive dumps that can now even be seen from space exist. Over the coming decade, consumers will demand change from the industry regarding the disposal of tyres, and we will need to explore some of these options. To begin, a typical supply chain of a car tyre looks like this, starting with Tier 2 and 1 suppliers moving from the manufacturing. From there, they move to distribution centers who fulfill orders to retailers such as car manufacturers who sell on to consumers, and at the end of the life cycle are disposed, repurposed, or remanufactured. Now, this supply chain has been specifically modeled for the tyre production, so let's see why it is set up like this. Starting with suppliers, the Tier 2 industry of raw materials are sourced from natural rubber or synthetic rubber made from crude oil. Now, because of these two products have a similar supply chain, I'm just going to highlight one. So for the natural rubber, this is how it works. Natural rubber is mainly produced in these 4 countries in South and Southeast Asia. It's transported to Tier 1 suppliers on tankers, whereas the rubber is mixed with additional chemicals to make the latex and create a higher product value. From here, again, tankers trucks are used to transport the rubber to ports where it is shipped in tanks to manufacturing facilities. Along this whole chain, decision support systems such as warehouse management systems are used, implementing RFID and barcode technology to track the progress of production to the factory, which generates value through the increased efficiency of the chain. Once the rubber has reached the manufacturing, the car tyres are produced. However, due to high safety demands for the product, a strict quality control is utilized, which forces reverse logistics straight from the factory. From the factory, the car tyres are separated into SKUs and loaded into containers ready for shipping to distribution centers. This is supported with another important system, a transport management system, which identifies the most efficient method of transportation, including such things as load management. Large containers are utilized for this type of product due to the low value to weight ratio, and therefore it is more economical to use large and slow distribution options as influenced by the low cost strategy. Production and stock in distribution centers are constantly tracked and compared to demand from retailers using transaction processing systems. Because of the high storage costs due to the volume of car tyres, many car manufacturers and retailers only hold a small stock with a high order cycle. Although evidence shows that this industry has a higher order cycle time, which can mitigate some of the expenses of logistics. On top of this, there is typically only one major distribution center for the leading companies in each market to reduce the warehousing costs, as influenced by the low-cost strategy. The remanufacturing of tyres is not always the economic option. Typically, it's significantly cheaper to dump and dispose of tyres. However, with the introduction of carbon policies in some countries, it changes the economic incentive to consider this as an option. Due to the previous lack of incentive, the reverse logistics of the tyre industry is made up of mainly new players separated from the rest of the supply chain. For example, some companies collect tyres from the return points and repurpose them into roads and playgrounds. Others distill tyres and turn them into biofuel. As such, the CSR activities of the supply chain are being taken away from the manufacturers and instead allow the profit to be made by these new players. These reverse logistics activities allow greater performance in the industry and enhance the supply chain, especially with new technologies that allow distilling to produce raw materials. This reduces the impact of synthetic rubbers production on the environment and demand from rubber trees, which can lead to unsustainable farming. Therefore, these companies, such as green distillation technologies and Tyre cycle, are adding value to the supply chain for the car tyre industry and reducing the impact of current and future issues regarding sustainability and other CSR activities.